This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by X Insurance. X Insurance. From the Sig Sauer Studios. On the Patriot Mobile Platinum microphone. Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense in the 6 Hour Studios begins right now. I am Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom today and every day here on the Patriot Mobile Command and Communication Center microphone on the Monday through Friday broadcast. And it's all being brought to you by the great X Insurance. Greg in Dallas, Texas, how you doing, brother?
Monday got here quick, didn't it?
It always does. You know, guys, every night when I close out a Sunday show with Greg, I make the following statement. I say, Greg, I'll see you soon. I'll see you too soon.
Yep.
Right?
Too soon.
It comes from the old Tombstone movie, right? I'll see you soon. I'll see you real soon.
Yep.
Well, lo and behold, it's always too soon. Hey, Greg, before we get cracking today with our guest, Andy Hoosier, and I know you have the X-Files music queued up, right? Because it's going to be a funny conversation. Just to get us started, we're going to talk about weapons, space weapons, pretty cool stuff coming up. But KNUW FM 95.1, Santa Clara, New Mexico, Albuquerque, Santa Fe area, welcome to the broadcast. You're airing the show live, 7 to 10 p.m. And KQMY AM 1360, La Selva Beach, California. That's the Monterey, Salinas, California area.
I almost thought that was going to be one of Andy's affiliates.
Yeah, when I heard that, it sounded like a KQMY, KQAM. It's familiar. But they began airing us on 5 to 9 p.m. 5 to 9. How does that work when it's a 3-hour show?
Maybe they grab one of the, maybe the Friday hour.
Yeah, they could be grabbing a daily defense hour in there, too. I'll have to check with KD over there at the network and find out. Those of you that were listening in Paducah, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, Farmington, Missouri, well, you're no longer listening. It's one station, KYLS, because the station went dark. And if you're there, you're not hearing this on that station because the station went dark. And I have another big announcement here relative to affiliates. Let's see if we can pull this up real quick. And we can. Lots of you picking up the Daily Defense this month. KNUW FM 95.1 Santa Clara. Picking up the show in Albuquerque. Cairo, Georgia. WGRA AM and WGRA FM, Tallahassee, Thomasville area. That's Southern Georgia, Tallahassee. Good to see you guys here. And WSCW AM, South Charleston, West Virginia. Charleston, Huntington, West Virginia. Welcome to the broadcast. You guys are picking up the Daily Defense. And WSCW, I'll get it out, FM 105.3. Also, Charleston, West Virginia, Huntington. So we love you guys. And Bismarck, North Dakota has moved the show up to 10 p.m. on the Daily Defense on 100.7 for some changes over there, but nonetheless, carrying the program. So a lot of growth. And we'll go to Andy in just a second. If you be kind enough, Greg, to tell people where to watch the program, we'll get cracking with Andy.
Sure, if you want to watch the show, just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters on YouTube and Rumble. Over on X, it's at AAR Mark. And to join the chat, just download the Telegram messaging app, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Yeah, and Greg doesn't like to talk about Facebook, but I do. Facebook.com/Armed American Radio. And guys, if you don't already do it, please subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform and never miss an episode of the live Daily Defense or the Sunday Monster Cast. Andy Hoosier, voice of reason. I didn't think you'd have an issue with the growth. You love, as a radio host, you love to give out all those new stations, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, no, absolutely. Congrats. That's awesome. I love seeing the growth. I got to announce a brand new affiliate as well on the Saturday program for myself as well. KBYR out of Anchorage, Alaska. Excited to have them up there. And so they were really excited. They officially jumped on this weekend. Next weekend, I have WROD, a brand new 100,000 watt FM talk station out of Daytona Beach, Florida, that's jumping on board. So, yeah, we're growing as well, and it's really exciting to see all the growth on both our ends. This is what it's all about, man.
It is. I think KBYR. I think I air on KBYR, too, so we're sharing some airwaves.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe you're on there as well.
That's pretty cool. You know, I would love to go up there and do a remote broadcast.
That's what I'm saying. And with the temperatures, especially this summer, I'm just moving to Alaska, and this gives me the excuse to do so.
Okay. All right. I knew that you would get in there with the cold weather. So, Andy, we have some big news, SCOTUS news today. Let me just tease this. But first, I want to talk to you guys about a very bizarre CIA declassified document, 250 pages worth of CIA declassified
Yes.
document. You saw this. You know where I'm going with this. But Supreme Court refused to grant cert today, and we'll talk about this later. I just want to throw it out. In New York, to hear a challenge to New York's concealed carry restrictions post Bruin. You know, after Bruin was decided, now 3 years, June of 2022, New York Hawk, all that hateful FCC thing, word I can't say. You can put your own expletive in there, whatever floats your boat when it comes to Hochul. They passed the New York SAFE Act, or I believe it was the SAFE Act. It was dealing with sensitive place designation, creating gun-free zones, barring even licensed concealed carry for self-defense in certain areas of Manhattan. Also, healthcare facilities, churches, parks, what am I missing here? Entertainment venues, you know, movie theaters, theater houses, etc., and other places where people gather. And that all going to remain in effect. It also means a provision. Get this. This is what irked us, ladies and gentlemen, that requires gun owners, you, if you're listening on a number of stations in New York, to show good moral character to obtain concealed carry licenses. That remains in effect as well. We'll go to that and break that down and dissect that in just a little bit. But first, and I kind of like the Daily Mail piece on this, Andy. Chilling declassified CIA file reveals aliens committed revenge massacre after UFO was shot down. Now, this is declassified CIA stuff. And what I liked about, here we go, what I liked about the Daily Mail piece was just the verbiage. A bone-chilling document declassified by the CIA has exposed an alleged massacre by aliens from a crashed UFO who turned an entire military unit, Andy, into stone. First, when I sent you that link, I was the first one to send you that. Oh, guys, you should have seen the text message in response. Big, giant, bold. Yes, Andy, just tell me what went through your head when you heard it. Now, we're going to break it down because the weapon they supposedly used is mind-boggling.
Well, yeah, and I can't wait to talk about that. So at first, you know, Daily Mail, sometimes they're a little bit on the tabloidy side, so you got to take some of what they do with a grain of salt. However, you first didn't even send me the link to that. You sent me the headline where Fox had talked about it on the news, and I was like, okay, so now it's more legitimized because if Fox is talking about it in a mainstream news site, then we can read a bit deeper into what's going on here. But the declassified CIA document from the 1990s. This is straight out of, like, if you want to tie it into spirituality or ancient whatever, this is like Sodom and Gomorrah stuff, man. It was pretty creepy to read through this.
Yeah, it was a revenge deal.
Yeah.
Now, so here's the deal.
Revenge for shooting down the UFO.
Okay, now I want to go here. All right, this is where you can break this down and have a lot of fun with this. All right. So what exactly happened in the document? And I'll paraphrase and quote from the Daily Mail. So I want to give them credit. I'm doing both. In that document, which summarized a 250-page top-secret file acquired by U.S. intelligence agents, eyewitnesses said 5 aliens climbed out of their wrecked craft, combined themselves into one creature, and exploded in a burst of intense energy and turned 23 soldiers into solid rock. Now, 2 survived.
Yes.
One CIA official referred in the report to the shocking battle as a horrific picture of revenge on the part of extraterrestrial creatures, a picture that makes one's blood freeze. It's coming from the CIA, guys. The document's available for you. It's declassified. It's crazy, right? So just talk to us up to that point, because this is fascinating crap. It really is.
I mean, yeah, this is not the type of interaction that we've necessarily heard from in the past with, you know, people that have been abducted or having some type of interaction with ETs whatsoever. But this makes sense. And honestly, if you heard of the new guy that was on Joe Rogan's podcast just a few weeks ago that had talked about running into a guy at a military base that wearing some type of military garb, it would make sense with the comment that he made saying that he didn't want to go, this ET being essentially saying that he didn't want to go talk to people at a certain military base because they're bad people. So that seems like there is this tension, maybe at least with some quote unquote ET races, of the relations between humanity, or at least with militaries that continue to shoot down their craft, and they didn't like this. So being in the mid 1990s and having this is not something I've heard before. 5 entities merging into one, and then an energetic ball of light that blasted out and turned 23 people into stones. That's insane, man. That's something that we, I think, need to look a little bit deeper into what that was all about.
All right, now you would agree with me as we go to the break that would be incredible technology if this were true and this existed. That would be incredible technology, right?
This to me reminds me of the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where
hold that thought.
Angel, yeah,
because we're getting ready to go to a break. But you would agree with me that would be incredible amount of technology to do that, right? Certainly technology we don't have.
Absolutely.
You and I can't be walking the street and see we're going to get robbed and merge into one being and blow up a big ball of energy and slaughter everybody, right? And then reform into ourselves and go, whew, that was close. When we come back, I'll break that down for you. There's a reason I asked Andy that question. We'll be right back.
following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, welcome back to the show indeed. Mark Walters sitting here in the 6 Hour Studios with you in front of the Patriot Mobile Platinum microphone today. All being brought to you by the Great X Insurance. This is when I tell you, please, please, please visit all of our great partners and support them for supporting you and your gun rights and this program for now 16 years. That growth I just mentioned, we couldn't do it without them, ladies and gentlemen. We continue to grow. And I got to point out, well, no, I'll go there later. I'll go there later because I got to get back into this conversation before I lose my train of thought. Guys, I don't know if you remember a cartoon. I believe it was from the 80s, right, called Voltron. You guys remember the Voltron cartoons? Now, you know,
don't remember that.
See, you might be a little bit too young. But Voltron was Greg, do you remember Voltron?
Of course I remember Voltron.
Okay. Well, Voltron was really Voltron was it's an American animated television series franchise. That
I'm going to write this one down.
Featured a team of space explorers.
Andy, you have no idea.
Pilot a giant super robot they called Voltron.
Go ahead.
Now, if you look at the characters in Voltron, or if you ever watched the show back in the day, like I used to do, okay, then they look like modern Buzz Lightyears from the 80s, right? And they're like I would call them, and when I look back at watching it when I was a kid, I would call them probably a precursor to like, I don't know, the Power Rangers. Would be a pretty good deal, but they seem to have. It's almost like out of some of those episodes from Voltron. Greg, would you agree with that? You used to watch Voltron, right?
Yeah.
Guys, I can't tell a lie. I can't tell a lie with a straight face on this microphone. Greg was telling me about this during the break. I said I'm going to steal your thunder and claim it for my own.
Because as soon as I heard you, just
I had never heard of Voltron. I'm doing this for Greg's benefit. I just had the fun with him.
I'm over here listening to you tell of how it morphs into one and does all this stuff. I'm like, guys, this is Voltron. I'm sitting over here not saying anything just yet. Like, this is Voltron. I used to watch this cartoon every Saturday morning. And
so did I.
I'm drunk. I was 8 years old watching Voltron.
I never saw it. But anyway, it was fun.
And like I said, Andy's too young. You're too old. I'm right in the target demographic.
Well, hold on a second. This was
Voltron.
the 80s, man. I was a young kid in the 80s.
How young kid are we talking?
Well, I mean, 18, 17, 18, 19, 20, in that range.
Adult? Young adult?
Well, yeah, but at that age, I mean, we used to sit around in college and do weird things and watch cartoons in the morning and stuff and, all that fun stuff. But
I was eating cereal and watching Voltron on Saturday mornings.
All right. Well, guys, here, this is fun. But anyway.
This is a CIA agent trolling people, just writing up stuff after they're probably high watching Voltron and thinking, this will make a great UFO report.
See, I would disagree because this was over 30 plus, well, 80s were 40 years ago, right? But it would almost seem to me that Voltron was taken from the CIA report, but who knows? Anyway, let's say this. The reason I asked you about the incredible technology of that weapon, Andy, because here's what caused, supposedly, the altercation. The Russian military shot the craft down. The aliens got pissed and revenge massacred everybody. Now, that's incredible technology to be able to do that. How could they possibly have allowed a Russian military earthling to shoot down a craft that's that advanced? Do you come on, are you buying this?
It's a great question. Yes, I do, actually. I do.
They just had a weakness, Their shields were off or something.
Well, no, I mean, look, if you go back to the 1950s with Roswell, with the way that was shot down, the way they've been monitoring us, they also monitor apparently our technology growth to where, they're maybe advancing as we are. So I can be open to the idea that, themselves as an actual being, look, I believe they are a being of energy themselves, but the craft itself, I believe that they potentially could, if they're in that third dimensional density, they potentially could get hit by something that we shoot at them and be shot down. So, I think that is possible. And then I think they got very angry with it.
Wait, hold on. The craft is in the third dimensional density, as you call it, intergalactic travel, and a Russian handheld something or tank blows it out of the sky. I don't buy it.
You don't buy it?
No,
I don't know. I think
no,
there's a
I
possibility
don't.
here.
Well, I can't
I
say
think
it's
there's a
not.
possibility here.
I can't say it's not. I believe we're in for a real surprise here in the very near future with all this stuff, no doubt. There's too much going on. I still can't wait to watch Age of Disclosure. But let's talk about the weapons, right? This is Armed American Radio. What would we have that could possibly defend against something like that? Ooh,
Railgun.
I don't know of anything.
I mean,
Maybe a Glock
in the
switch?
1990s.
Yeah, definitely.
Going back to what it was at 1994, 1993 when this supposedly happened. I think that, again, remember, government is so secretive. They could have been testing government weaponry that's anywhere between 200 to 300 years advanced ahead of our time as the consumer that we're aware of. So who knows? Maybe they were testing something that's what shot it down. We don't know.
The Babylon Bee had to have written this for the CIA.
It's interesting for sure.
It's out there. I will say that out of all the disclosure ideas or people that have claimed to have been abducted or interactions with ETs, this is probably one of the most bizarre ones for sure. But look, I still think it's totally possible. And again, going back to the biblical times, if you read the Bible and you replace aliens with ETs, things make so much more sense. And look at the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where you had the angel that came to get the family out of Sodom and Gomorrah before they blew it up like a nuclear blast. The wife turned around to look at it and she turned to stone and crumbled. Like, this could be the exact same technology.
Okay,
we're
well,
talking
all
about
right,
here.
okay. Well, I mean, look, it's open for discussion. There's no doubt about it. We're very arrogant, pig-headed fools if we think we know everything, because we do not. There's no question about it. But what's interesting, what I find interesting about this is the agency, and I'll quote from the Mail here. The agency added that, quote, the extremely menacing case proved the aliens who visited Earth possessed weapons and technology far beyond the U.S. government's assumptions, suggesting they were already aware of the aliens' existence. The unearthed document, declassified in 2000, was recently the topic of the AI or Evil podcast, where host Josh Hooper revealed that 2 of the soldiers at the UFO crash site actually survived the encounter. However, the other 23 petrified soldiers could not be saved. Their remains in the debris from the spacecraft were reportedly moved to a secret research base near Moscow. Even more concerning detail of the CIA file is the description of the aliens reportedly involved in this massacre, who have been mentioned in UFO reports and sightings for nearly 80 years. And they refer to them, Andy, as something I'm sure you're familiar with, the Greys.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's exactly the description of what we
creepy
heard.
stuff,
It sounded
right?
like the Greys. So who knows? But I didn't realize that the Greys, quote unquote, had that type of technology to be able to morph into an energetic being, going from 5 down to 1. I thought they were more, from what the little bit that we understand of the stuff, allegedly, again, was that they were more of the research
30.
types that would do the abductions to research on humans, or the ones that would gather data. I didn't realize they were more of the energetic beings, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, it says, according to the only 2 soldiers who survived when the soldiers approached the craft, 5 aliens freed themselves and the debris came close together near the wreck. For unknown reasons, the Soviets launched a surface-to-air missile at the UFO. Now, it would seem to me that anything that possessed that technology would laugh and swat that away like a mosquito. Okay, so
You would think so.
You would think so, but you never know. Maybe they got caught with their pants down. That's what pissed them off. Who knows? We'll be back with Andy Hoosier. We'll break down the Supreme Court case. Fun stuff for a Monday. We love you, Andy. I'm glad we're able to talk about this fun stuff with you. We'll be back right after this, guys. Don't go away.
Daniel Defense firearms are guaranteed for life, trusted worldwide, and designed, engineered, and manufactured right here in America. Daniel Defense, freedom, passion, precision.
Yeah, Daniel Defense is freedom, passion, and precision, ladies and gentlemen. Always is, always has been. You can check them out at danieldefense.com and also support the Double D Foundation.org as well at the same place. The Double D Foundation, of course, supporting youth shooting sports around the country. Help them out if you can and get on their mail list. I've been telling you that for years. Get on their email list. Some really cool stuff. Also, I want to give you a little live read here at Buds. Our expert buyers work hard every day to provide you a great selection of products at great prices every day. On some occasions, Buds makes special opportunity buys with manufacturers that either give you even more bang for your dollar or access hard-to-get guns. You can find those items in the Shop Featured Items section on the budsgunshop.com homepage, okay? Make sure to check out the Shop Featured Items section at budsgunshop.com, and you'll see all kinds of cool stuff. Lots of featured stuff over there today. I was talking with Steve Reed over there at Bud's Gun Shop, and he wanted me to make sure you knew about it. You can find the items, again, in the Shop Featured Items section at budsgunshop.com, our exclusive online retailer at Armed American Radio. Andy Hoosier, the voice of reason, welcome back, my brother. So I started reading some of that report, that declassified report during the break. It's wild stuff. And Greg had you potted in. You could hear that too. I'll give you the last word before we move on. But that's wild.
Yeah, it's a wild one, man. It's a wild story. I love the disclosure. I love that we're finally getting some more stuff little by little. We're going to get more information. The disclosure's happening, my friends, and I can't wait until that disclosure documentary comes out too. Marco Rubio apparently even came out and made a statement about that documentary after it was seen. So there's something in there. I cannot wait for it to actually be uploaded on social media. I know some of your people on the conversation on Telegram aren't very happy with me, but that's all right. I think it's interesting, and it goes right in line.
Aren't very happy with you. What is there not to be happy about with you? What are they saying?
Biologics and just the concept of trying to interpret what the heck we're seeing here and referring it to the biblical times. I've told you before, I think that the ETs are a very spiritual thing. Unlike someone like Tucker Carlson that thinks that all of them are demons. I totally disagree with that concept. I believe that, there's the good ones, there's the bad ones. And I think they very well could be tied into the spiritual realm if they are technologically advanced enough to change dimensions or be able to shapeshift or do whatever they can, that there are probably the aliens and the demons, or the angels and demons, that are probably in a physical form that we see, probably in the form of some type of extraterrestrial. So I think that we just don't know, and I think that's an interesting interpretation of them, and I'm excited to learn more.
It is. I'll close out with this. This is from the Mail Piece final sentence here. Despite their prominent place in extraterrestrial research, this disturbing incident appears to be the first time humans have alleged that these beings could have accomplished such terrifying feats. Now, hold on a second here. Again, this throws me off. You have things that traveled interstellar through time, space, dimension, crap we don't understand. And you're shocked that they could do something like this? See, that's why would that shock you? They pretty much did it to get here. Okay, all right. Supreme Court, aliens as well. Another update on the Snopes case, ladies and gentlemen. We go to conference on the Maryland assault weapons ban case for the 11th time. Record territory for the Supreme Court. Juxtapose that against their denial of cert in the New York case. And that's why. Why would they do that? Why would they not take the New York case, and why haven't they granted cert yet in the Maryland assault weapons ban case? And I'll tell you why, Andy. These are two diametrically opposed. Number one, the assault weapons ban case has already been granted cert by the United States Supreme Court. The decision vacated, and it was immediately remanded back for a full review. The entire Fourth Circuit reviewed it, and that's referred to as GVR'd. The entire Fourth Circuit has ruled on the merits of the case. Now, their ruling sucked, but they ruled on the merits of the case. So that's why I feel really confident going forward into this 11th conference that this case is going to be taken. I still feel that way, more so than I did a couple weeks back. I'm back up to my 90%. And I also feel confident that if they take the case like Mr. Gottlieb does, that we win the case. They've had ample time to deny cert in this case. Now, again, all that is speculation on my part. That's my gut feeling. That's my personal opinion. I could be way off base. So why wouldn't they take this case in New York? There just hasn't been enough post-Bruen yet. Remember, they take less than 1% of their cases. If you go to the dockets, to the releases at SCOTUS website, scotus.gov, when you head over there on Mondays, when you see the report come out, you'll see 35 denials of cert, and you'll see 1 or 2 cases granted cert. And this goes on every week. They take less than 1% of the cases, Andy Hoosier, the voice of reason. You understand that. We're talking about reason here. But in a post-Bruen environment, they're waiting for the lower courts across the country to paint a picture for them as they move forward, and they know some of these cases are going to make it. I'm not shocked. I don't like that they didn't take it. I would have liked them to take it. Clearly, you should not have to show good moral character to earn a permit from New York in a post-Bruen environment, or for that matter, any flippin' environment, to carry a firearm in the United States of America anywhere you choose. But from a legal standpoint, this is what the Democrats throw up at you, and as a result, the court has to look at it that way. Andy, they just don't have enough yet underneath them as we traverse this post-Bruen environment. What do you say?
Yeah, no, I find it interesting. What does that even mean to have good moral standing? Like,
it's completely subjective.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, right now it's like, well, you don't commit crimes. Okay, well, we haven't committed a crime, which the vast majority, as you talk about all the time, people who commit shooting crimes and or even mass shootings, quote unquote, by definition, whatever that is nowadays, that most of them don't have a bad criminal record prior to them actually causing that issue. So you have to look a bit deeper into it. And I think that's where it really sticks out, is what is the moral high ground here, or the good moral values? Like, do you have to follow certain ESG movements? Do you have to follow the DEI movement? Are we talking about like social credit scores where you have to believe in particular issues and you have to have trigger words like wokeness or transgender or pride or something on your social media? Like, what does that actually mean for the government to deem you quality to actually have a firearm? That's kind of strange to me.
Well, in some places you have to do you have to have people vouch for your character. So, and Greg, I'm surprised this hadn't popped up in you yet. When somebody's got to vouch for your character, do they have to get people to vouch for their character? How do we know their character is good enough to vouch for your character?
There you go. And some of these people with zero background checks are out here protesting in the streets, or with any criminal background out here protesting in the streets over some of the most idiotic things, and they think it's the highest moral high ground. So I think at the end of the day, it's all subjective.
It's completely subjective. And I asked that question. I used the example the other day. Put 2 mirrors together, right? Step aside and look at the reflection, and you'll see that constant, infinite set of mirrors, right? Where does this end? So do we finally get to a point where, that person is of good enough moral character to stand for him and talk about his moral character? Well, how do we know that person's moral? This goes on down the line. It's infinite. At what point?
That's like Joe Biden endorsing Hunter Biden, saying that he's a good son.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah.
Smartest man he knows.
Or Jill Biden endorsing Biden to make it seem that he's got enough moral character to endorse Hunter Biden. And then, I don't know, maybe her daughter-in-law. I mean, this is a never-ending deal. This is completely subjective. It's nonsense. We know it. I suspect the court knows it as well.
30.
But from a legal position, it's not unusual to see the Supreme Court. It really, in particular, if we focus on the Bruen decision, it's not, which was a New York case, by the way. It was a New York v. Bruen, or New York State Pistol Rifle Association v. Bruen. But when you consider the fact that the court is looking for cases right now, I am not shocked that they didn't. I hate that they didn't, because it just irks you that someone would have to, and because the anti-gunners are out there right now saying, it withstood a challenge. No, it didn't withstand a challenge. No, it did not. The case was never adjudicated. There was no ruling on the merits of the case. They just said no, denied cert
20.
For whatever reason. But, I'd probably be saying the same thing if the switch were pulled the other direction, ladies and gentlemen. One more segment to go with Andy Hoosier. Don't go.
This segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Daniel Defense. Visit DanielDefense.com. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, make sure you check out all of our great partners, please. ArmedAmericanRadio.com. You can find them all there. HeavensHarvest.com. If you bought the meal packages yet, very inexpensive. Cooks right in the bag, 15 minutes, no water necessary. They work. They're great. I've had them. You will love them. Pain relief, Patriot Supply. Patriots Relief. I said Patriot Supply. It's Patriots Relief. Make sure to check out patriotsrelief.com. Use the AAR promo code over there. You get 40% off automatic. Use that stuff every single day. In fact, I used too much of it this weekend because my wrist and my thumb and my elbow were killing me. And I had a friend of mine's a doctor. He said, that's because you're playing the guitar all the time. It's repetitive motion. He said, you might want to rest that. I said, no, I'm never going to rest that. I don't care. We'll get a new wrist one day if I have to. I don't care. Anyway, great stuff over at Patriots Relief. Patriots Relief. Don't forget Defender Coffee. And Barrel Buddy. Had a conference call with those guys today. We've got it. We're working on a promotion right now. Probably know within the week. But it's going to be, I believe, a gun giveaway and some Barrel Buddy stuff. You're going to want to know about it. I can promise you that. Because if you win, I'm going to be really jealous of you. But make sure to check out BarrelBuddy.com, BarrelBuddy.com. The price point's awesome. Less than $15 for a bag. Clean your guns the right way. Get rid of the patch. Throw them out. You don't need them anymore. Barrel Buddy's got you covered with patented technology. And you can check out all of our great partners, all of them, including AmmoSquared.com, AmmoSquared.com. Dan Morton on the program last week. I want to bring him back again in the maybe next couple weeks because he's got such a dynamite product over there, growing like a weed. Very glad and proud to have participated in some of his growth. And we did it because of you. So support these people. $15 I give them every week, and I'm stacking ammo like crazy over there, close to 2,100, 2,200 rounds now. I'll know on Wednesday when I get my next statement from them. So make sure to check them out. You can check them out at ammosquared.com. Andy Hoosier, the voice of reason. Welcome back in, my brother.
Yes, sir. By the way, I'm having fun having a conversation on your chat group with all your people there.
Oh, well, Neil McCabe would call them all the knuckleheads in the chat. But since Neil's not with us, and
I love
not with us, he's just not participating. Well,
I
are they
love the
attacking you over
it's
there?
Fun. No, not at all. We're having a great conversation.
Okay, yeah, I don't think the knuckleheads would be attacking you. That wouldn't be nice.
No,
knuckleheads.
Although you do have some, some Bigfoot deniers on there.
Oh, you're talking about. Oh my God. Oh. You know, there's a Bigfoot museum up the road from me in the mountains, heading
That's
up towards
Sasquatch
the Blue
to
Ridge.
you.
Yeah, Sasquatch. There's a Bigfoot museum up there. I guess that's a big thing in the North Georgia mountains. I don't know. I have no idea. Last time I thought I heard Bigfoot, it was just a big barned owl that was living in my backyard. That's all, you know. Hooty hoo, hooty hoo.
That's right.
Like the drunk woman from the movie way back. Hooty hoo, hooty hoo. I've only had one. You know, it's the barned owl. That's all it is. Oh my God, I love Mondays with you. Okay,
It's
so
a Monday.
where are UFOs, Bigfoots? Voltron, yeah, that was my favorite cartoon. That's great. Oh my gosh. Okay, Andy, it's up to me to find the next topic. I don't know. Armed Indiana homeowner kills alleged burglar. I love happy ending stories. Oh, but you know what? I'll save that one. At least 15 people shot during weekend in Mayor Johnson, Chicago. Haven't really talked much about, used to cover that every single day. People get this misconception. They're only killing each other in Chicago on the weekends. No, we just report the weekend numbers. But ladies and gentlemen, they're shooting each other every day in Chicago, every single day. Let's get a look at the numbers now, current, Andy. So far, year to date, it's April 7th. Shot and killed 91, shot and wounded 309. Total shot 400. Nice round number for April 7th. So there you have it. Are you shocked by the numbers, Andy?
Well, yes and no. I mean, no, because it always happens. It is still just sad. I guess not shocked, but just devastated with it. Continues on. I mean, it's not getting any better. And you would think that after a while, the social experiment of trying to ban firearms and have crazy high gun regulations would actually stop, or, they would change policy in order to do something different. So I'm not shocked that they haven't tried to address the issue. And unfortunately, just devastated and sad that so many people continue to be shot in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, use the word sad. I've used that word to describe it too. But I don't know that that's the right descriptive. When I heard you say that, something popped in my head. It's more disgusting than anything else, I think, Andy. sad
Yeah,
in
that's
the
a great way to
sense,
put it.
it depends. How are you defining? It depends. What is. It depends on how you define is. What is right. But sad. Yeah, it's sad that it happens. But it's more disgusting than that because it is preventable. Yeah, I'm having a hard time articulating that. You know where I'm going with this. If you can articulate it better, feel free.
I mean, it is preventable. We could do something about it right now. We could change that in an instant and make it stop, and they won't. So you're right. It goes beyond sad. It's frustrating. It's disgusting. It's despicable. It's deplorable. Whatever term that you want to use of this grotesque. I mean, it's insane because you're right. It is a preventable thing that could be changed with it. If you change gun policy in the city of Chicago and you allowed people to conceal carry and you allowed them to actually defend themselves and you set up different training camps to teach people how to properly carry, how to properly use, how to properly defend themselves in those scenarios, and you begin educating people, then guess what? Those shooting numbers would go down insanely fast. I mean, you could see a drop within 2 to 3 months once you start up these programs, I think, and yet they don't. And yet they continue to go the opposite direction, and they continue to just tighten and squeeze even harder and harder every single time, thinking that they're doing something. At what point does the social experiment fail and they admit that it fails?
Well, never. And that's where I was going. You said they keep doing this. They keep doing this. And then you ask that question, at what point does the social experiment fail? It doesn't fail. Think about that. To them, it's not a social experiment. To them, it's an agenda to grow government. They don't care about the lives of their people. They have had plenty of time in the city of Chicago. We have covered tens and tens and tens of thousands of shootings, stadiums filled with people on this show over the last 16 years, hammering Chicago. They could have done something about it whenever they wanted to. They choose not to do it. And they choose that for a reason. I know that's hard to wrap your head around as a law-abiding person, as a decent human being, as a Christian. Who would do that? Who would allow that to continue to happen day after day after day? I'll tell you why. They're more concerned about their political agenda than they are your lives, ladies and gentlemen. It's that simple. Period.
Yes.
Don't believe me? Ask Donald Trump. Look what they put him through. They don't give a crap. They couldn't care less if they destroy your life, bankrupt you, kill you. Doesn't matter to them. As long as they come out ahead, Andy, in power. That's all they're concerned about. Yes. Democrats have owned Chicago for a century. They have no argument, none. If you can't checkmate somebody in an argument about Chicago politics when the Dems have controlled it for 100 years, you ought to find another line of work. Arguing ain't going to be your case. Andy, where can people listen to you coming up the next hour?
Yeah, you bet. HoosierReason.com, on all the social media at Hoosier Reason. And it's always fun, Mark. This is a fun one for a Monday today. ET's, Bigfoot, and Chicago. I mean, it seems like they're all tied in together, I think.
I was looking forward to bringing you in on Monday when I sent you that article the other day. It was a Fox News. It was a Fox News piece. I watched it on Fox News. I thought it was fascinating. But it was fun. I knew I'd have fun with you on that. Thank you for humoring me today on that. I appreciate it very much. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense going to get up and do it again tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, precisely because they don't want us to. Lee the Gunwriter Williams will be here. We'll talk about everything that he is working on, and he is a true investigative journalist, the best I have ever met. Lee Williams, the Gunwriter, will be here. You can check him out at Armed American News and at SAF. He does all the investigative work. We'll have him with us tomorrow. So until we meet on the radio tomorrow, carry on, carry often, carry absolutely everywhere. Never, ever, ever leave your cave without your whatever spherical explosive weapon that is. Stay safe. Enjoy your day. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow.
You've just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by X Insurance. X Insurance on the Armed American Radio Network.
Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate it. Mondays are always fun with Andy Hoosier, especially when there's a big story like that out that we like to talk about with Andy. It's pretty cool stuff. It is fun to talk about. I enjoy talking about it. If it's real, wow. You know, if it's not, it sure was fun talking about it. But there are certainly some high up alphabet agency people out here that are looking into this stuff. So for whatever that's worth, I have no idea, but it is fun to talk about. All right, guys, enjoy your day. Stay safe. We'll see each and every one of you on the radio tomorrow. Remember, carry on, carry often, carry absolutely everywhere. Never leave your cave without your club. No self-respecting caveman would ever do that. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow, guys. Thanks for being here.